morning, everybody. Depending on what time of day it is there, we will just get this link out. Apologies, I did have to close the space and restart the space. We were having a few technical issues. Hopefully now we can get Leon back in and we can get stuck into a conversation around the founder funnel, which is what Leon has been talking about of late with his marketing company. So I am going to invite Leon on. Hopefully we do have like this time sending through a co-host invite, Leon. Hopefully this is coming through. Simultaneously, what I'm doing at the moment is just pushing this invite out to the same crew. Hopefully we're going to be able to get you on here, Leon, as the co-host. If not, I am failing. But hey, we're trying our best. Let's go. Let's get stuck in. Oh, yes. Yes, I can, brother. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing great. Great to be here, man. I don't know what happened previous space. X always keeps struggling, but hey, man, we made it. Excited to getting started, bro. Again, the founder funnel is what I think about before sleeping, and is the thing I think about waking up. My girlfriend's probably jealous, but yeah, founder funnel comes first.
That's hilarious. Yeah, obviously I'm a huge fan of your content. It's interesting over a bear market, right? You tend to just whittle down the content and actually just the people that you're prepared to listen to. And yeah, I think yourself and I think you're actually probably the last man standing for actual like just consistent Web3 content with regards to I guess marketing and industry on YouTube. And yeah, so since you put out the videos and a lot of the clips since the funnel founder, we've actually been implementing some of the strategies, and it's going well for us. So I'm really looking forward to getting, I guess, a bit of a deep dive from you.
I appreciate you saying that, man. I really do. Again, for me, marketing is just like I'm just passionate about this. I read marketing books for fun. And a big part of the content I've been making was just me documenting my journey and sharing the things I've been learning along the way, man. And you know what Gary Vaynerchuk says: document, don't create. And the moment I had that kind of mindset shift about content, this is where it really started becoming effortless.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's yeah, you can tell when like you can tell when people really love their craft. For me, marketing is a necessary evil and something that I have to do to get the job done. But yeah, when you can marry that passion for something with love for it. But what I wanted to do, Leon, before we get started and while we let people let it build up, I'd really like to just be a little bit nosy and dig into because there's always little hints of things that you've done in the past, right? And when you're a fan of the channel like I am, I'm really interested about the skipping product that you created and the following that you created around that, and then also what you did with your engineering community. I think that adds, context, because when we talk about 10,000 hours, I think it's a lot of like what appears to people to just be, oh, wow, this guy's just got it, is like really it's acquired through thousands of hours of honing your craft. So I was wondering if you could share about those two particular things that you did.
Oh man, are you bringing up the jump rope videos that I used to make back in 2018 to 2019?
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, how did you get into jump rope, and then why did you? I mean, yeah, why did you go down that pathway? And I guess how did you grow it? You've grown it pretty big, right?
Yeah, man. This is the first time I get asked this, man. I really appreciate someone. I can tell you've been part of the journey early on. I often do bring this up, especially on the YouTube content. But I think I started like a lot of content creators start. It started off as a passion. It started off as a transformation that I lived through as a younger man. I was always my body type was always I'm someone who can easily gain fat, just like a lot of people. I used to be pretty shy, borderline insecure around women. I didn't used to have the confidence that you could see today perhaps resonate through the video. And one of the tools that was introduced to me early on, I remember a YouTube video popped up on my feed one day. It was this guy called Billy T. Wildy, and it was just a jump rope video on music. And I saw that. I remember I was 18 and I had immigrated from Canada to Lebanon. And I saw that on my screen. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I actually would like to try this out. So that same day, I had classes downtown Montreal campus. There was a sports shop two blocks away. Went there, got myself a jump rope, and then went to the university gym. And first time I jump rope, absolutely sucked at it. Like the obviously like everyone, zero skill set. But what started happening, I started finding myself getting better at it. And not only did I start finding myself getting better at the sport, I started finding myself getting addicted to it. Because with progress, you start craving progress as a human being. When you start seeing yourself getting better, overcoming that what used to be hard last week, all of a sudden you can now do. You start becoming addicted to that feeling. And the thing with skipping rope, for those of you who are probably hearing this and is like, what is he talking about? Jumping rope. There's levels to this game. You can be good, but you can be really good. And I set it up to myself. I wanted to one day compete in that sport. Actually, when you see there, if you see like jump rope competitions, people are doing backflips, they're doing crisscross between their legs. It's advanced. And what I noticed happened about 12 to 18 months after, it started to become part of my character. I started finding myself going to the gym because I wanted to get into that specific sport. So I had the idea one day. It was my brother who came 2 years after from Lebanon to Canada and brought with him this one name that forever changed my life. He came with the idea of Gary Vaynerchuk. It was literally Gary Vaynerchuk that changed my life. My brother came and he was like, "Man, you should absolutely check out this guy. We should try something together." And at the time, Gary was all about content, 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 do content. And that's where I had the idea. I was like, you know what? This is the tool that absolutely changed my life. I'd like to create content around that, helping other people go through the transformation that I have personally lived through. So it started like that. Again, as you notice, the first couple of videos absolutely not uh, up to quality par, but I still did it. And there was a point where I I faced the dilemma that a lot of content creators would face, which is the plateau. The plateau, which is the point where every content creator feels like things are getting hard. They might not be getting the traction that they want, and they think of giving up. And me having been a younger entrepreneur, younger content creator, having not having the, if you want, maturity, discipline, and forward thinking that I have today, I ended up doing exactly that. I ended up succumbing to what a lot of content creators find themselves falling victim to, which is the plateau. And I ended up stopping producing content to go and chase the next opportunity that was in front of me. And this is a lesson that I often bring up to a lot of people, which is exactly 3 years after, in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of COVID, I remember I had about 50 videos up on YouTube back then, and I hadn't posted it. It's been 3 years. I get a notification once from YouTube, an email. It was one morning, I open up my Gmail and I see from YouTube, congratulations, Leon. You're now eligible for monetization on your YouTube channel. I look at that, I'm like, how's that possible? Like, I haven't uploaded in 3 years. I needed, I believe back then it was 4,000 hours of viewership, which was not little. So I open up my YouTube analytics, which were dormant for 3 years, and then I see a major spike happened overnight on my YouTube channel. And I sat there and I couldn't believe what was happening in front of my eyes. As the world went into lockdown, people reverted to finding a new way to stay healthy without them needing the gym. And what was the sport that came up first? It was jump rope. And it was in that moment that I realized that I had just missed out on my overnight success opportunity. If had I been consistent and disciplined enough to continue doing my content, this is the moment where people would have called me the overnight success. But unfortunately, because I had stopped, I had missed that train. And today, a big part of what fuels me up until today, Mark, you were asking me like, you're the last man standing today in Web3 marketing. And these are remnants from the wisdom I gained from that experience. Having experienced that missed overnight success, I now know that it's not something that happens by luck. It's something that happens with time. And just to end the point, you know what they say, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And I was not prepared, but the opportunity came up back when jump rope happened. And you bet I intend on being prepared when Web3 happens again.
Man, this is so interesting, eh? Like just hearing you tell this story, because I think if you get far enough into life, I think most of us, particularly if you're trying to make it in technology or trying to figure out your pathway as far as content creation, I think most of us probably have at least one story of similar to what you're talking about. I think it's, yeah, like literally when I go on to Web3 and I see your channel and I'm like, this, like, look at the amount of subs here and look at the views. This is, to me, this is like criminal. But I also feel like very much the same, like within my own ecosystem during this bear market, where the analytics and the metrics just don't stack up relative to the amount of output and effort that you're putting in. And it's really during those times that you're truly tested as a founder. And that's what I really admire about you, Leon, and why I asked you to come on is your, it's not just your knowledge, which is expert, but it's also your tenacity to keep going through this particular market has really truly earned my respect. It's because I know how much of a grind it is to keep going. But the second point I wanted to ask you about is, and I think this also underlines your journey as well, you do have another community that you built, and there was a problem with monetization around that community. Could you share that, and then we'll get stuck into the founder funnel conversation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks. I appreciate that, Mark. I really do. And the first time we spoke was a little bit over a year ago. So also seeing you here still 1 year after is very bullish to me. I believe you're referring to Worldwide Engineering, which was also a community I started. Again, this was following the initial seed that my brother planted when he introduced Gary Vee to me. I started off with the jump rope. And then at the same time, I kind of started this Instagram community. One day I was sitting in my engineering lecture. I was like, this is interesting. I'm learning cool stuff. Let me take those nuggets of knowledge and just publish them on Instagram in a way that just to document my journey. And it turns out what I thought was interesting that I was posting online, other people did as well. And very quickly, Worldwide Engineering became one of the fastest growing engineering community, if you want, on the internet, like literally on the internet. At our peak, we were gaining maybe 40,000 followers per month, which was, it was big number of people. And 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 this was a product. Today worldwide engineering sits at a little bit over 930,000 followers, still going, still active, still consistent. It's fully automated right now. I have a team for that. But that also was, if you want, if going back to the jump rope story, the fact that I had these two things going on together, it was kind of like I stopped jump rope to pursue the other opportunity, which was worldwide engineering. So it's like always that woman in the red dress. Had I only perhaps had one opportunity, what would have happened? No one knows. But yeah, this was pretty much, it became the fastest growing community on the internet, and it pretty much acted as the stepping stone and the foundation to my community building journey. When you have a community of hundreds of thousands of people at your fingertip, and whatever you post, is going to be viewed by tens of thousands of people in a matter of hours, you better be selective and you better be conscious over the experience people have engaging with you and engaging with your ecosystem. And this is where I started developing a pulse over what type of messaging were people resonating with? What type of content did people like consuming? And most importantly, what are the things that I had control over that would make my community more loyal to my brand versus to the other guy next door that is also posting content? And one thing I did realize was what I did right that a lot of other projects or brands did not do, which is that I attached a name and I attached a face to the brand. When every other brand was just posting facts and stats, I would pull my phone after a lecture and literally video face the camera on Instagram stories, sharing with the community what is it that I had learned in that hour and a half lecture. And doing those small things all of a sudden allowed me to build a stronger rapport with my audience. It allowed me to, up until today, get messages on my personal account by people telling me, Leon, I can't thank you enough for the early content you were putting out. It you helped me make a decision over which career I should pursue. Like that's how much of an impact it's had on people. So the fact that I was able to attach a face to the brand made it more, created a loyal community. And this literally, like the founder funnel that I talk about today, is a work in progress that started with me 6 years ago. So it's not a new concept. And if you want, Mark, I'll give you the stage so you can ask any follow up questions from there. But I'd be more than happy to tap on the monetization element if that's the path you want to take.
No, that's fine, Leon. I just sort of wanted to give, I guess, because I watch all the videos and I've seen all of the content you've put out with Web3 marketing over the past, well, it must be coming on close to 2 years now. So I think it was just really important to give context to that before we get into, I guess, the discussion. Now, I'll pass to Leo, actually. If Leo, my fellow co-host, sorry, I will throw you co-host there too, Leo. Leo, do you have any questions at all before we move on into the discussion?
Yeah, just a couple questions. I've in the last 3 months, I've been looking at people that educate people on posting and like portraying content, like you said. And there's a couple of them that said don't overdo it each day. Some of them said like a max of maybe two, maybe three a day. What's your thoughts on that?
So don't overpost. There's an incredible story by Henry Ford. He was walking one day around his factory, and he would keep seeing the same advertisement that was being worked on by his marketing department. He just like was walking in front of it every single day. So one day he was like tired of it. He went up to the person responsible and asked them, "Guys, when are we going to stop running this campaign? I'm tired of it." And the person responsible looks at him and tells him, "Sir, We haven't even started running this campaign yet. So what this tells us is very often we as marketers, we tend to tire of our own marketing material because we are like super immersed in our own messaging. It's in our head, we write about it, we think about it. But trust me, man, your prospects don't care. They're too busy. You're one of 250 tweets that they've liked and commented on that same day. People forget easily, and you need to remind people more often than you think about yourself. So my philosophy with content is if you can create volume without sacrificing quality, do that. But if you had the choice between okay quality and volume versus amazing quality and low volume, I would go with the first one, which is okay quality but volume, because volume creates quality. Just look at my very first videos, Leo, on my channel of NFTs. You're gonna see my videos. I was recording my screen from the camera of my MacBook with the audio from my computer. Like horrible setup, but I still did it. And 5 days after me posting my first video, I still got a client. So it's not it's just a lot of times with content, it's about doing it.
Nice. Hey, Leon, Leo, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, one more question. Sorry. Okay, so when you're doing content, like, do you want to in one content, do you want to mix in comical with down to earth with facts, with info? Where's the balance there?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Um, there, there's a concept I learned reading storytelling books, and it's the concept of story arcs. So what you always want to do, imagine you're watching your favorite movie or your favorite show. Let's say Lord of the Rings. I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy. It's a like 3 hour movies, three sequels. Like, oh my God, 9 hours of content. How do you keep people engaged? The way you do that is by having one main storyline. Think about you draw an arc. So on a horizontal plane, you draw an arc. But in between that mega storyline, you have smaller storylines that are opening and closing at any point. You have a battle that's happening. What's going to happen from the beginning to the end? So every episode is its own storyline. So when it comes to content pieces, this is where you have like micro content, you have bigger content, and you have mega content. When I make a tweet, with one tweet, I'm always trying to communicate one idea. So I'm trying to make one point, one story, one idea. With a video, with a YouTube video that is 20 minutes, I'm trying to make one major point, but the way I do that is by opening and closing multiple smaller ideas. So 5 trends for 2024. That is the next video that is going to be coming out. These are 5 different trends, 5 different stories that I'm going to be recounting as part of this one major idea. When it comes to a Twitter thread, for example, a lot of people ask me, do I do a Twitter thread or do I do a long form tweet? A long form tweet is amazing when you want to share one idea, one takeaway. A thread is when you're trying to communicate multiple things because the way it's consumed, it's like every thread is its own idea. So, which format works better for you? When it comes to one of the points you were trying to tap on, which is humor or information, I think it really depends on your character. How are you as a person? For me, for example, like there are some people that like friends of mine here on X and Web3 that create content. They're incredibly funny, and that's their character. They have a very developed, witty sense of humor. Unfortunately, that's not me. My friends wouldn't say Leon is the funniest guy in the room. So I tend to lean a lot more on the informational side of things. So for you, I would just make sure to sparkle your own character and your own persona within your content without having to try to be someone or something that you aren't.
Nice. I can relate to that, Leon. I'm not super funny, and I like I'm quite dry. I quite enjoy pushing out information, but I think authenticity, right, would be what people would
That's
say,
why
and
we
I think as long
connected,
as you're
buddy.
authentic, yeah. Um, Absolutely. Just a little. I mean, I know there's a few people in my community here. Maybe Leon probably doesn't remember this, but because he meets with so many people, and I think perhaps this is why you've stuck out in my mind so much, Leon. Is I've met with a lot of different marketing people, and we've had expenditure with a lot of different marketing people. I've also I've helped out a friend, and he did his launch, and he spent multiple six figures on his marketing launch. And I've really seen the inner workings of Web3 marketing with so-called high-level marketing teams. And I can tell you it was pretty bad, pretty average. Whereas my experience with working with you, Leon is actually a big part of the lore of my ecosystem and my community, because in our initial launch, we hired a really high level marketing, high level, I say that in asterisks, high level marketing / advisor, who essentially cocked up our first mint for our OG collection. And I was struggling for ideas of how do we keep moving this forward. We're working so hard, we're doing everything right. And I went and saw Leon as part of his free consultation, which I highly recommend you do if you're down there and a founder. Now, Leon said to me at the time was, hey, man, like, it's really, really hard and really expensive to basically re-energize a project or pull it back from the dead when there's nothing there to grab onto. So Leo recommended that we cut our supply. And I was like, holy shit, that's quite a big thing. It's going to cause a lot of FUD. And even though I only went through that initial consultation, it was actually and I'd been thinking it was actually the impetus that gave me the confidence to do that. Now, what happened then was we cut our supply. We ended up putting out another collection, which was our follow-up collection, and made our OGs very exclusive at 777. But the next collection minted out like within 15 seconds. And then we rolled into, and I'm not going to show today, but we rolled into the third collection. It was very utility based, and it's been amazing since then, so it's I think that's why you stuck out in my mind so much, Leo, was just giving good advice basically from that, and really being a part of the law. And many people who are listening who are holders in my community won't know that, but that is the reason why, just to give context to our ecosystem. But before we go, I know I said we were going to go straight into the founder fund. I want to lay down one more of your thesis points that you talk about in your marketing. Is what are the different NFT collector types? And then let's roll into this founder funnel explained.
What a question. The 3 types of NFT buyer personas, the 3 types of buyer types. So there was Axie Infinity, who recently did a study, and they found 11 people that buy into their own products. However, I'm not going to bore you with 11 because we've summed them up to 3 main types of buyer personas. And obviously there's gray zones, there's the Venn diagram, there's people that are that type of persona. They're in the middle. However, at its core, there's the 3 buyer personas that exist in Web3 are, we call them the X collector. So the first one is an X collector. X is for Generation X, older persona. Collector is because they are in Web3 to collect. The second one is Finny. We call them FIN-Y. The Y stands for Gen Y, and Fin is financially sophisticated. So that's kind of, you want to think of Finny as a smart money, someone who has purchasing power, a little bit older, that perhaps will buy into your blue chip project because they are betting on the long-term longevity of the project. They still want to make money. However, they are longer term holders. And then we have the industry favorite, which is, we call them Z Money, also called DGen, and commonly known as DGens. Z Money, Z stands for Gen Z. Money is their prime motivator to be in Web3. That's the type of persona that is going to buy in the morning to sell in the evening for 30% profit. These guys tend to absolutely love volatility, and they love marketplaces or chains with very low transaction fees. So that's where you can start reverse engineering. With that understanding of the concepts, you can start reverse engineering. Why on Solana, for example, you tend to have a much richer community of Z money, a lot more degens, versus on Ethereum, you tend to have a lot more finnies. Why a lot of art projects, for example, that resonate with the X collector, the type of marketing that works for them, the type of branding is very different than that of other projects that might be coming out there. And just on that note, a very common mistake, I will call it, I see a lot of founders do, is they would market their project. So they have a product that is, let's say, it is a degen product, but they tend to market it to the wrong type of persona. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you have a smart money product. I have my friend Andrew right here. He's in the audience. Andrew is a great business developer. Imagine Andrew decides tomorrow to start a community of entrepreneurs in Web3. That's a smart product. But then Andrew goes out and all of a sudden is raffling giveaway tickets on Twitter and on Discord. First come, first serve. That is not the type of buyer behavior that someone that is like a smart money resonates with. That's a degen behavior. So the moment you start seeing that clash between the product versus the marketing angle, that's where that's why you see a lot of brands, they are not able to really target their buyers, and their marketing ends up going to waste. So first step is identify, really, like, frankly, what type of product are you? Who do you resonate with? And number two, where does your target buyer hang out?
Awesome. No, that's important. I feel like for everybody to know who doesn't follow the content to give that context. But let's move into the founder funnel explained. If you could please, Leon, could you please just, I guess, lay out the basic concept and your thinking behind the founder funnel? Anybody who does want to come up and perhaps ask a question or two, feel free to come up. We may have some builders and founders down there. I want everybody to get the most out of this space. So if you do want to come up, if you're a bit shy, post a question down the bottom right-hand corner as well. But yes, Leon, the founder funnel explained.
4 words. People resonate with people. That is the philosophy behind the founder funnel. Nothing more. People resonate with people. Just today, I was speaking with a project founder. They're dropping in January, and they're pretty much struggling with marketing. So I sit down with them and I'm like, hey man, like, what have you guys tried doing regarding marketing, and why do you say you're struggling? He tells me, he's like, man, I've hired a big team of artists, a big team of content creators. We've produced a lot of content on our project account. I go on the project and I see the content. It looks good. Highly polished content. Probably spent a couple $1,000s on the art. And then I look at that founder. I was live on the call with him, and I tell him, man, like, can I be honest with you? You're confusing middle of funnel marketing to top of funnel marketing. Brand content does not distribute on social media. Like, I've never seen a post from Yuga Labs distribute organically and go viral. Like, no, it just doesn't happen. And this is like Yuga Labs. Imagine the smaller project no one has heard about. The project feed, think about that as window shopping. You want it to look polished. It has to look good. But you need people to walk in front of that storefront to peek in and see, oh, this looks interesting. Let me go check it out. And the moment they enter the door to that shop, the equivalent of doing that is joining the Discord. But the first step above everything is, how do you get pedestrians on that street to look and window shop your products? And the way you do that is by creating content that actually distributes. How do you create content that actually distributes? There's a couple of ways. All the typical traditional marketing uh, channels that we've all heard about: SEO marketing, paid ads marketing, and content marketing. These are the big three. We happen to be in an industry where SEO marketing, I don't think anyone ever searches for hot NFT in 2023 on Google. Uh, paid ads, so media buying, we happen to be in an industry that is incredibly restrictive, and trust levels are so low with our target buyers that they just do not interact and engage with ads. So the only thing we are left with is content marketing. And at the core of content marketing is people resonate with people. So the best way for you to crack content marketing is to do exactly what your favorite founder does, or to do what I've been doing with Unfungible, which is lead with the face. We lead with the brand. It's the face that sells in Web3. So when, if you want to break it down and really look at this in a more granular way, your ability to create a variety of content that has the virality potential is a lot higher through a personal account than it is through a project account. Because you want your project to look polished, you only want your best work to be displayed on there. So what you're left with is the founder account, where you can actually go out there and, as Leo was asking, just throw the content, throw things at the wall, and once and one thing out of 10 is going to stick, but once it does, it works. So this is really the foundation. Long-winded answer, Mark. People resonate with people.
No, that's good. It's funny because when you click to it and you have that penny drop moment, then it becomes very obvious, right? Like there's so many different brands and you're getting inundated with literally like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of collections went through since 2021. And I think the moment that clicked for me was where I kind of like going through this past bear market and really being at like almost at the far out at the mercy of influencers and like going, wow, I'm creating this amazing stuff, and then being at the mercy of the people who literally just sat in spaces in 2021 talking shit and saying nothing. And those people now, because they literally just there and built the relationships and the following and the people and the influence, are now essentially controlling the space and the way I see it. So it's like for me, as my personal strategy when I was watching your content is going, man, I need to implement this so that, from a strategic standpoint, that, yeah, you get through this mint, but then the follow-up mints as well, right? You've invested so much into this personal brand, and then everyone believes in you and it flows on from there. So it's often, it's a bit like, my wife, she needs to tell me 5 times before I understand things. And I think this was the same. I had to be told 5 times before I understood it. But Zippy, I see you've come up. Thank you for joining us on the stage. Do you have a question for Leon?
Yeah, I do. I'm on desktop, so I can't see any hands or anything. So it's very interesting. I've been following the founder funnel content that Leon's been putting out. Hey, Leon. I think I first encountered you when I think it was Wales space, where one of my customers was there on the panel. It's Sammy Verghese from DGen Distillery.
Yes.
So that's kind of why I've been like simping on your Twitter and like interacting. So I kind of like what you were saying, and we've been taking on board some of the feedback and that you gave to us, both on the whale show and also on Tolly Space as well. So thank you for that. Very constructive and insightful comments. My question for you today on the panel is, so I work with all kinds of different founders, not just in the NFT space, but in the altcoin and other parts of Web3. One of the challenges we have is, as a founder in Web3, quite often you have extremely limited resources, especially pre-raise. So whilst I agree with you that the founder funnel is important in terms of getting the message out, so that message resonates with me. My challenge is one of the resources that's most most like a bottleneck. That's the actual founder's time. So if they are to, I get it, like, nothing put in, nothing put out. But if you're going to invest in building up the founder and you have limited time, which channel should they focus on to get the best effect? So for me, like, I see them as in, like, you have like X, and you have like, in terms of posts, you have X in terms of attending spaces, and you also have like podcasts. Like, for me, those are the three main channels that I like to work with. Maybe you have like something else to add to that, but that's my question.
Yeah, Zippy, my man, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you taking time off your day. The question you've asked, which is the channel, meet your customers where they are, and that really has been the philosophy I've been following. But something I'll invite you to do. So the founder that you're talking about, or the different founders that you're talking about, you really have to understand, where does your target audience, where does your target customer hang out, and how do we hang out where they also do. But this is where it gets interesting for us as marketers and as builders, which is identifying arbitrage opportunities. I remember back in 2021 and 2022, when I was getting into Web3, I discovered Web3 through TikTok. Like, some other people entered Web3 through YouTube, others through X. And whoever was the person, the gateway for my experience into Web3, won. I bought their project, I bought into their course, whatever that looks like, whatever they were selling. I noticed something very interesting in 2021 and 2022 when I started on Fungible, which is that there was actually a lack of quality marketing content on YouTube. You can very easily use data analytics tool to find. I used Google keyword search, and I saw that 1,000 people were looking for NFT marketing per day on YouTube, but there was absolutely no content that was presented to them when they would write that. It was underwhelming. So I found an arbitrage opportunity. Although 80% of my market was on X, there was 20% that I believe was on YouTube, that no one was targeting them, or no one was satisfying their content search. So that's where I was able to come in and actually build my agency off of Unfungible. X only started becoming a priority for me 6 months ago. I built Unfungible to a 6-figure business entirely off a 2,000 subscriber YouTube channel, man. Like, when just me saying that to myself is mind blowing, especially as I'm a guy who built an Instagram page to almost 1 million followers, and I've never seen these types of numbers before. So YouTube channel with 2K outperforming a much larger brand, and that's because I struck an arbitrage opportunity. I'm hearing today LinkedIn is picking steam. I am repurposing some of my content on there. I'm not seeing traction, but I do know there is a scene on LinkedIn that is boiling up right now. I have studied it. It is very different than what we have here on X. It's a lot more corporate. There are no mentions of all the things we talk about today, Azuki, Pudgy Penguins. There's absolutely no mention of those on LinkedIn. There they talk about corporate. They talk about Starbucks. They talk about the Reddits. So it's a very different culture. However, I do think that the arbitrage opportunity I had last year, I think there's something on LinkedIn right now. So those are the three. Just to answer your question, Zippy, try to think about X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Those are where I currently see that there's a Web3, undertapped Web3 attention.
That's great, Leon.
Sorry, Zippy, you go.
That's great, Leon. Thanks for the input. And I did. I think this was like I think maybe 2 weeks back. I watched that video where you talked about these arbitrage opportunities. So for everyone listening in, I would recommend like just scrolling back in Leon's feed and having a look, because there's a video where he talks about the keyword search.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Zippy.
Hey, Zippy, that was a really good question. And I think the answer really just sparked something in my mind there, Leon, because when you're, I guess, a founder and you see like X is really flooded, YouTube's pretty quiet, I think, and then like we went through this blue ocean discovery period. We were like, okay, marketing 101 philosophy, blue ocean, let's go into oceans where people aren't. And I think we've tried that a few times and then realized and gone that, wow, there's actually just not enough traction there to even like establish a blue ocean. But what you're talking about LinkedIn, if there are founders out there who are listening, I'm currently having really, really positive responses and a good time on LinkedIn with VC, angels, and different accelerator type people. I've found them extremely responsive to setting up one-on-one appointments and discussing the ideas and concepts that we're working on with our project. So, I mean, that would be, I can tell you like from firsthand account, it's working right now on LinkedIn. They're very, very responsive.
I do have my friend AK down there in the audience listening. By the way, he's been we've been talking in the back. He's been kind of experimenting with LinkedIn. So if you guys want to bring him up, or if you can talk, AK would be amazing. Mark, on my side, just so you know, I'll have a meeting in 9 minutes.
Perfect, man. That means I get to go back to bed. It's 10 to 4 a.m. here, so I'm very happy about that.
Oh, bro, I appreciate you doing that so early.
That's good. It means I don't wake the kids up. But hey, let's get stuck into a few questions. Actually, I noticed we do have. I don't want to skip past them. Pro aesthetics. I know you came up, so I'll give you a chance to opportunity to ask your question. If not, we'll just throw straight to AK. AK, how are you today?
Can you hear me, by the way, or not?
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
oh, perfect. I was wondering, and I was keeping quiet. I don't know what happened. No, so
yeah, you're good, man. You're good, bro.
Perfect. Yeah, basically, I am all in LinkedIn. So, of course, I work for Go Builders. I'm the head of sales, and all my sales traffic that I do is through LinkedIn, mostly. I want to believe, and I think LinkedIn isn't a platform where you can have the Web3 kind of talk, as Leon mentioned before. It is a corporate platform, and especially in terms of content, I have realized stories, actually linking in info. So Leon mentioned Starbucks, that's a really good example. Or like there was loads of hype based on CZ 2 weeks ago with Binance. But I think LinkedIn, if you can build a profile like a almost CV, like your profile is literally what you do, what you can do, your profile picture, your banner, everything straight to the point. It's actually very good. And me personally, instead of texting people, I actually use Loom a lot. So this you can actually personalize video to video, to person. I know it takes more time, but it makes you different from the rest, right? If I'm spending, let's say, 5 minutes actually on a lead, I know it may work, may not, but I'm actually putting more effort in, and thus that lead sees that, right? Because if I send you a video speaking to you directly, as opposed to sending a message, that does seem a bit better, right? And ultimately, these leads that I reach out to, they're researched prior. So I don't just mass outreach. Like you've probably seen your comments or seen your DMs, some people reaching out into your DMs that are not even specific to you, right? So that's what allows me currently have an over 10% cold DMs to booking rate. So if anyone does sales, you'll see that's very impressive, because ultimately the average industry standard is 7.5% to responses, but we're getting 10% meetings booked. So imagine on 100 DMs, you're getting 10 meeting booked. And then ultimately 50% to 80% of them closed. So they're actually really, really, really good results. But yeah, LinkedIn is a platform where you need to actually, each message that you do, specify to the person, actually customize to that person, and ultimately don't speak like you're trying to sell. Like when I speak to someone, I'm not selling, I'm helping. That's the big, big difference. I'm making actually video. It's coming up tomorrow. I'm doing some editor because it's like a 10-minute video, which is split into 5 parts. But instead of selling, you're helping. And ultimately, instead of acting like a person or an agency, act like a firm. So use these words instead of following up. I use circling back to get an update. Or first thing that I say, instead of hey name, I say greetings name, and then carry on the conversation. I think you just act more professional, and that makes you again different from the rest.
Hey, cool,
Man, what a
man.
good point.
Thank you very much for those tips, bro. Sorry, Leon.
No, what a good point, man. AK, this was amazing.
No, thank you, Leon. I do appreciate it. As I say, I think there is a massive opportunity in LinkedIn, but again, it's not a platform where you can use the normal Web3 talk, right? It is a platform where you use corporate talk, and if you incorporate that into Web3, yeah, it will definitely work well.
Awesome, AK. Very interested to have a chat to you offline. I'll give you a follow, and I know the space is coming to an end shortly. But yeah, thank you for those points, brother. Steph, you've got a question?
Yeah, just want to tune in and want to thank for the conversation here and thanks for the input, AK. Leon, we had the pleasure already in a personal call, so thanks for that opportunity. I want just to have some questions here. I mean, I haven't even set it up a LinkedIn profile, but I think that's definitely a way to get in contact, or maybe for kind of collaborations as well, for as a founder to get in contact with other companies and bigger brands as well through LinkedIn. Is that possible? More in this direction?
Steph, man, it's so nice to see you here, brother.
I listen.
It's a valid question, man. Again, I don't want to act like I'm a expert LinkedIn. I think I've gotten a total of like five sales calls that came through LinkedIn. So nothing impressive. However, if you want to talk YouTube sauce, bro, I'm your guy.
Okay, perfect. Well, and then another point on Instagram hasn't mentioned yet. We think that we can catch more people in anime and especially gaming as well through Instagram to build up a good account there, right? Like Pitchy Penguin and the others did with only, they keep it very, very clean with 2D animations only. You think that's a good strategy to go for and keep it clean to use only for this kind of topic, for like 2D animations?
Hey, AK, could I just ask you to mute off, please, brother?
AK is doing a peanut butter sandwich. I believe, Mark, if you mute the room, and then it's going to mute everyone. Try muting the room.
Beautiful. We're into it. Yeah, back to you, Leon.
Yeah, to answer you, Steph, it's again, Instagram, TikTok are fantastic platforms that I believe should be tapped, but should be part of a broader, more strategic plan. I'll give you one case study. If you go, I was at a conference actually here in Dubai about 5 weeks ago, and I met this guy, incredibly smart guy. Started talking to him, and I as we were exchanging contact information, his header on Twitter, on X, was onboarded 3 million people into Web3. I look at him, I'm like, what do you mean by that? How did you do it? He tells me, bro, I onboarded 3 million people entirely off TikTok. And then he went on to explaining how he creates viral animations for different brands. And one of the brands he was working with is called Blick the let me give you the exact name. Blick the Gobbler. So look it up. Blick, Blick, And if you just write that on TikTok, it's going to pop up. They've generated over, I believe, 1 billion views on TikTok. And it's nothing but the animations of that character that they have, the main character called Blick. And it's animated, and it's like it's like the Pudgy Penguin, the story, but they've done it on TikTok, and they've done it to perfection. And what they have as part of their funnel is actually a game that they click. The link in bio takes them to a game, and unknowingly, this is actually a Web3 game. So people don't have absolutely no idea. There's no wallet connect. There's no MetaMask. There's no seed phrase. People connect their wallet. People download the app, create an account, and it creates a wallet in the backend. And that's how they were pretty much able to generate 3 million people into the space. And just by the way, for the people listening, the recent project that launched, Army of Fortune, that perhaps a lot of you here were grinding for it, they are the same company. It's all part of the same ecosystem. So this is the case study I would use as my North Star, Blick the Gobbler, to kind of base my strategy, my Web2 marketing strategy.
Thanks a lot for this advice. We'll have a look on it. Thanks, man.
I appreciate you. Thanks for the question, Steph.
Hey, thank you very much, everybody. And thank you in particular to Leon, who's come in. I know you'll be having, different onboarding calls. I really think this information is so important to get out there for different founders, having been through a lot of bad marketing experiences. And I also think historically it's really important to capture these moments into Twitter Spaces. So thank you, Leon, for coming through. I appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh man, Mark, I have to thank you. It's 4 a.m. for you. Respect the hustle, and I thank everyone also here who took time out of their day. Love you all. I'm 1 DM away. Okay, my name is Leon, and I'm here to serve you guys.
Awesome, bro. I know you do have to dash out. I do not want to cut off anybody who did have any final things to say. So I know Leon will probably depart, but if there are any of our speakers, Steph or Harinder or Leo, if you do have anything to add before we wrap up, ask now or forever hold your peace, and let's get out of here. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, Harinder, you came up. Mike's yours.
Not sure if your mic's working there, Harinder, but it appears not to be. I see you are a collab manager and you're on the grind, on the hustle. Good on you. Well done. Good stuff. But if there's nothing else further, I don't think we can hear you. Leo, can you hear him? Is it just me or is it all of us?
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Okay, yeah. Apologies, Harinder. We would have had time for you to speak, but unfortunately we can't hear you. We are going to close the space. So this, I've been implementing the founder funnel that Leon put out. It's going really well for us. So, I mean, that's my personal testimonial. These spaces in particular are part of it. So, part of my strategy of growing out our ecosystem is building up a solid regular show and getting really good people. So, if any other founders want to connect, we do collabs. I'm really supportive of other builders and founders who are legitimate in the space, and I'd love to connect with you, perhaps get you on, share about your project, and we can share back and forth. But yeah, I appreciate everyone turning up. It was worth getting up at 3 a.m. for. It was Leon. I was like, God damn, I don't want to get up at 3, but this time suits Leon, and I know the information is valuable. So I'm glad I did because it was really good. But we'll call it a wrap. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Harinder, Leo, AK. Thanks for coming up and joining me on the stage. Appreciate you all, and appreciate our listeners. Give me a follow, and I will circle back and follow everybody who gives me a follow, so we can just keep reconnecting in the space as we head into the Bull run, baby. Let's fucking go. The bull runners are here and upon us. The halving is around about 4 months away, and we are absolutely crushing it, everybody. We are in the right place. We've paid our dues. We've earned our keep, and we made it through this bear market, and now we are going to motherfucking cash in, everybody. So let's hold the course. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you guys next time.